You're in the middle of 4 more hours of your life that you won't get back. Tradin Paint.
Sirius XM NASCAR Radio.
I know you wanna leave me, but I refuse to let you go. If I have to beg, need sympathy, I don't mind, 'cause it means that much to me.
No need to beg. Welcome back to the show. We're halfway home on this Classic Rock Tuesday. Stones get us going this time around on a beautiful day here at the NASCAR Hall of Fame studios. Chocolate Myers to my right. I'm Rick Benjamin with you till 3 o'clock Eastern time this afternoon. Jam-packed this hour. Chalk, we've got great stars, friends of the show. They're lined up. They're wall-to-wall just about for the next 60 minutes here. Let's kick it off with our good friend Reed Sorenson, NASCAR Nationwide Series standout in that Dollar General 32 car for Turner Motorsports. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We're fine. We're fine. Now, you got going pretty well at Iowa there for a while, it looked like, on Sunday. Unfortunately, we were hoping it would be you to be the first nationwide regular to bag one this year. Didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah, it was close. We definitely had a great race car, and, we were able to lead a bunch of laps, and, that was really good for us. And, I really did think we had a good shot to win, and it just didn't fall into our lap like we needed it to. And but as long as we keep bringing fast race cars like the past couple weeks, we should be able to get that victory soon, hopefully.
Hey, Reed, you've talked about fast cars again this week, and you do unload. You unload fast. But when we talk about this race team, in the car that you had this week, is that a new car? Is that a car that you've redone, or is it just a car that you've got in your stable over there?
It's just a car we have in our stable. We took a new race car to Dover, and it ran really well. And the car we had at Iowa was actually a car that we raced at Richmond that was terrible. So we had a lot of different stuff on it, and, obviously it ran a lot better. So we were pretty happy with the way it ran, and the direction we're going, obviously, is better for us and faster. So we'll just keep going that way.
And Iowa and Richmond, a lot of people might think very similar in size and somewhat in configuration. Does it take a different kind of race car to be successful at those two places, or would the same thing work pretty well at both?
I think it's pretty close. The track is a little bit bigger in Iowa. It's 7/8 of a mile and a little bit faster. But I think if you have a fast car at Richmond, you can probably take that and take it to Iowa and be pretty good. Our problem was we weren't fast at Richmond, so we didn't take anything that we had there.
Reed, when we look at the races, and we know that everybody's close, and you've got a lot of good cars there, strategy today more important than it's ever been, I think. Pit stops more important than they've always been important. I think we see them more now than we pay more attention to it than we ever have. Talk a little bit about strategy. Did you try to play any strategy Sunday? Was there anything you could do? Did you do 2 or 4? Was there anything that, and I'm sure that if you guys had been able to do something different, you probably would have towards the end of that race. We saw Carl Edwards have a car that was better on the long run, and unfortunately for him, he didn't have a long run, and they end up getting beat.
Yeah, well, Iowa's race was pretty straightforward. It seems like the cautions fell, right when everybody had to pit. And, we did green flag stops right before that last caution. So everybody was pretty much done pitting. And, on the green flag stop, we got 4 tires. So really nothing different we could have done as far as pit strategy. It was pretty straightforward and simple. The only thing that hurt us was about halfway through the race. We were leading the race, and then all of a sudden our car just went terrible for the next 50, 60 laps. And when we took that set of tires off, the right front had a hole in it. I think it was about 13 or 14 pounds less than it should have been. So that next set of tires we put on, then the car was back to normal, but we had to fight our way back up to 4th place there at the end. So that was what hurt us the most, just getting in that situation where we struggled for that 60 laps right there.
Reed Sorenson with us on the hotline, drives the number 32 Dollar General Chevrolets for Turner Motorsports. Right there, now back to second in the championship, just 7 points off the lead after a nice run to 4th at Iowa. Went back and looked at some of the highlights earlier. You were leading at one point, restart. It looked like the car bogged. Was that when the tire was going down?
Well, we had one restart, and the car seemed to be good. And I think we ran 3 or 4 or 5 laps and then had a yellow. And then that next restart, it wasn't even the same car. So
wow.
I didn't know what was going on. because we ran so long and the tire didn't blow out. So we're pretty fortunate that didn't happen. But I was pretty confused in the race car just because it was so good. We were leading the race and the car was great. We were making very, very minor adjustments, and actually that pit stop, I don't even think we made an adjustment, and the car wasn't even the same. So I was confused, and then once we got that last set of tires on, the car was hooked back up. So that's just one of those deals that, I guess it happens every once in a while, but I guess we're fortunate it didn't blow out on us.
Reed, I want to talk a little bit about the race team and what you guys are able to do over there and how you're able to do it. Once again, Ricky Stenhouse wins the race there in Iowa. We know that that's Jack Roush Racing, and we know that they've got technology, parts, pieces. We know what all they've got over there. Your deal a little bit different. You're a smaller race team. You're a nationwide-only race team. You do run a cup race every once in a while. How do you guys compete, and how do you keep up with somebody like Jack Roush?
Well, it's tough, but our team's doing a great job for everything that we have. The Hendrick horsepower is great, and they're real good about trying to make the motors better as the year goes on. So that's a big plus having Hendrick horsepower. And for us, we're just trying to take what we learn each and every week and apply it. And for us, we feel like we're getting our cars better. And I think for us to catch those cup teams, we just got to keep our head down and worry about ourselves and try to work hard.
A lot of us have made quite a bit about the fact that up until this past weekend, none of you guys, no nationwide regulars, have been to Victory Lane. Now that that's happened, even though we were disappointed it wasn't you, does that take a load off your mind, or is it not something you're paying much attention to?
Well, I don't really pay too much attention to it. We have our own points battle that we're battling.
Right.
And each and every week we go after a win, regardless of who's there or how many cup guys are in the field. And, we try to run in the top 5, gain as much points as we can, and have a shot to win the race. So I think that you'll see, as the year goes on, I think you'll see a lot of nationwide teams win races. And, I don't think that'll be the only one.
All right, dude, you were headed back home, headed to Charlotte, North Carolina, Friday afternoon. This is a big, big deal. It's Memorial Day weekend. Is this one of those races that you get a little bit of pumped up and get psyched up for?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like everybody's hometown, so I guess we're all defending our hometown at the same time. But it's definitely a big deal to everybody, and it's a little bit special. Just because everybody that lives here and works on these race cars that sometimes don't get a chance to go to the racetrack do have a chance to get out there and watch the race and come out and check us out while we're in the garage and stuff like that. So it's definitely special to everybody that works on them, and it's special to us just because it's only 30 minutes from the house, and we're trying to defend our home there.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Home game for every race team in the sport, just about. It's got to be specially circled on everybody's calendar. Reed Sorenson with us on the hotline. It also is obviously a 1.5 mile racetrack. That's the dominant length of track in our sport. As I recall, it's the kind of racetrack you like quite a bit. So are you pumped up? Is this a place where you expect to come in and be a very strong player this weekend? I
think so. We ran the COT nationwide car there last year. I think we finished 7th. And I don't see any reason why we can't, be better than that this year. So we're pretty excited about it. It is a different tire than we ran last year, so we'll probably have to work on it a little bit and see what that tire wants. And we're racing in the middle of the day, so it's going to be nice and slick. So we'll just have to see what we got when we get there. But we definitely expect to run well.
A lot of talk about Kimi Räikkönen moving quickly. A truck debut last week went pretty well. A lot of people pretty impressed with his 15th place finish. You've been in this sport now quite a while, even though you're still very much a young driver in our sport. Are you excited to get to race against the guy who was a former world champion?
Is he racing this weekend?
Yeah, he's entered in the nationwide race. Kyle Busch Motorsports and Joe Nemechek's team combining to field a car for him there.
Well, see, I don't even know. I learned something today.
So all you'll see is that yellow stripe on the back bumper, and you won't pay the least bit of attention, right?
Well, hopefully we're ahead of them. I hope so. But, yeah, I mean, that's, somebody like that coming into our sport is pretty neat. I was Juan's teammate when he came over in the sport, and he adapted to these cars probably faster than anybody did. So we'll have to wait and see, how Kimi does. But I did watch the truck race, and he seemed to race a smart race, which is, I think, what you got to do when you first get into the sport, is just try to be smart. So it'll be fun having him around for sure.
There was a comment. You'll appreciate this. I read that we had this story in one of our news recaps earlier, but I had read it online. Apparently, Montoya, and I had forgotten, Montoya and Kimi were teammates at McLaren several years ago, and Montoya helped Raikkonen this past week at Charlotte and said they talked more in like 2 days at Charlotte than they had talked during the entire time they were F1 teammates. So I thought that was pretty telling about what F1 is like as opposed to what our sport is like.
Yeah, that's one thing that Juan said when he came over, is just, teamwork, I guess, in that racing series is way different than the way we are here, where, over in NASCAR, we try to work together as much as we can. And after every practice, we're talking to each other with your teammates, and you're trying to figure out how that guy's beating you or vice versa, or what's going on with their race car. So teamwork is definitely a big part of our sport.
All right, bud.
All right, man. Listen, all the best this weekend. We'll see you out at the Speedway. We appreciate you making time for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Always a treat to have Reed Sorenson with us on the hotline. Drives the number 32 Dollar General Chevrolets from Turner Motorsports.